What's going on? Hey, I want to make a definition of what it is to accuse someone. A definition is like he was accused of murdering his wife's lover. That it's to be charged that you're either at fault or guilty of a crime. So it's like this. An accusation's like this. All right, let's say you unmindfully left something in the hallway and someone trips on it, right? And they say, "What the F? Were you trying to kill me? Did you do that on purpose?" It's like, no, it was an accident. You know what I'm saying? So it's to accuse someone of a crime. It's like you're lying. You know what I'm saying? If you're not lying, it's a false accusation. But if you're lying, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's a real difficult word, man, because people be like, when they say, don't accuse me, when they're being wrong, when they're being totally fucking guilty. That's, in other words, you're saying, you are not allowed to charge me with the crime when you're guilty of a crime. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, if the crime is this, you are being fucking vindictive. And if you are doing the shit out of retaliation and for some kind of pride-filled reason, motherfucker, you're guilty. You're guilty. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of people, a lot of tyrants like this, they can't be called out on what they do. But hey, any person with, like, look, some level of self-esteem and self-respect is not going to allow someone just to fucking falsely accuse them and try to railroad them and be like, I can speak at you, but you are not allowed to speak at me. No, see, in the court of law, it's like this. Okay, since you accuse me, I have a right to stick up for my freaking self. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a totally outrageous freaking claim, don't even respond to them. You know what I'm saying? Basically. But, so, an accusation is only a bad thing when it's false. And sometimes, even if it's true, because it's like, well, they might be guilty of that, but we can let them get away with it because it ain't worth it. I've done that before, out of error. You know what I'm saying? So, some things ain't worth throwing the fucking whole book at. And, if you're throwing the fucking book at something that's small, you're living with that critical, judging spirit, that spirit of condemnation. It's not self-condemnation. Better to be a self-condemner than it is to condemn everyone else and to give yourself the free pass. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like that term accuse has to be really refined and defined for people, because if you're guilty and you won't allow anyone to accuse you, well, then you kind of have this fucking, you're above the law. Listen, if you feel you're above the law, you know what I'm saying, then, but yet you want to use the law against everyone else, but you are above it. That's the real hypocrite right there. And it's very much tyrannical. And I notice some people who, they'll be guilty right in front of you acting a fool. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I still wouldn't call them a fool, but they be acting a freaking fool. Listen, to say, oh, okay, if you say you're worthy of being put into condemnation if you call someone a fool, but it's like, that's in a derogatory fashion. You know what I'm saying? But if you say to someone, man, why are you being foolish right now? That isn't the same as saying, thou fool. You know what I'm saying? Then saying, why are you being foolish right now? You know, I mean, there's a differentiation, man, fucking, between things. And, it's like, nowhere does it ever say is that, like, you're supposed to agree with your accusers if they're accusing you falsely. That would be to lie. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes people build up these fucking situations where they want you to agree with them, but in order for you to do that, you would really have to be lying. And you'd be lying to them, you'd be lying to them yourself, and then God's watching. He's watching you lie. That you fold under pressure. That in order to get someone off your back, you'll agree with them and stroke their freaking ego. And, you know what I'm saying? And it's that's not That's not really what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, like, look, if someone's being angry, and it's like, why are you being hostile towards me? It's like, if you're being hostile towards them, you are being accused, but you're guilty. So an accusation sometimes should be a wake-up call that, like, look, wait a second. It's like, instead of saying, no, I don't believe what you're saying, I don't agree with you, you should be like this. Wait a second. Is there any truth to what they're saying here? Wait, let me look at it from their perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because, and then after you do both, honestly and justly, then you can come to a good understanding, a place to redirect. You know what I'm saying? The whole game that's going on. Because a lot of times the accusation thing is just a fucking game that people play in a way, man. It's like, all right, if you tell someone they're stupid and they get infuriated and now they're in the rage, you'd only use stupid as a pretext to infuriate them and provoke them into getting overly defensive. And see, that's another spirit you don't want to get into. Even if someone is falsely accusing you, but you get over defensive, it still causes you, it says, be angry and sin not. Since you weren't guilty of this, but now that you're angry and now you're responding out of wrath and retaliation and retribution, you are guilty now. You know what I'm saying? And that's the freaking trick that these people, when they play these fucking mind games, these provoking games, these dangling approval and rejection. They use approval and rejection as a kind of as a sadist tactic to abuse the person they're engaged in conflict with. And you know, like I said, man, it's like yeah, it takes two to tango, and most of the time it takes two to make it right. So when one person tries to deflect and project and lump all guiltiness on one party when it's not accurate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it's like, see what it is, man. You're trying to make me be guilty of this, and you don't want to take responsibility and acknowledge your own guilt. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, we really should be not holding a grudge and harboring some kind of like, it's what it is your position. It's like you want to fight. You know what I'm saying? And since you feel this moral superiority, because, I mean, it's deception as well. A lot of times, because how often is it not just some self-righteousness and some, you know what I'm saying? Blinded by the pride, man. And, you know, I've done it before, because these people used to be able to work me over a lot better. But now, you know, I mean, it still hurts when these people play these freaking games. But now that I understand it, it's a lot more, it's easier to get over it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't linger and do forever trauma. Actually, every time they try to inflict trauma and you recognize it, it helps liberate you from the trick that previously kept you captive. You know what I'm saying? Because their biggest trick is convincing you in your own mind of not to have confidence in what you see and what you're hearing and what you're saying. They always try to chip away at it. And then once they can get you backpedaling, then they can, like, then it's just what they're doing is they're pretending as if there's a chance that this thing could be mended or made right. But no, really what they want you to do is go back on your word, and then they want to hit you with everything. So it's like, no, sometimes you do gotta fucking stick to your freaking guns, especially when a person is like, look, they're being freaking so freaking stubborn and arrogant, and it's really just like, you know, it's just they're just being a disobedient person altogether, man. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, since they got you in the hot seat, they're gonna take out everything everyone's doing to them on you in that moment. And that's another thing, you know, where you can discern you can discern the spirits behind it, man. And it's it normally is like some kind of there's a ulterior motive. There's a plan of action, and they're trying to get a reaction, a certain kind of reaction, and you can tell they're leaving you options because they perceive you're going to take. If you take this one, you're wrong. If you take that one, you're wrong. And depending on which one you take is which reaction they're going to give you. But they've already premeditated it, thought it out. They got all the bases covered. Everything you say, there'll be an excuse, and then they'll flip it back and say it's your fault. And that's just a trick to try to get you to... they try to pass the book, but you be like, look, I don't want the book. You got the book right now. You know what I'm saying? Why you keep passing it back? You know what I'm saying? And, see, but then if they pass the book, and then you put them on blast while you got the book, they'll try to take the book back. You know what I'm saying? And, I don't know, man. It's just it's a effed up. It's an effed up philosophy, man. And most people operate this way. It's like tit for tat, holding a grudge, trying to inflict trauma on another, but yet you're trying to pretend that you're not. You're as if it's this way, but in all actuality, it's that way. You know what I'm saying? It's your way or the highway, which basically is like, look, you're trying to assert yourself as king shit, as tyrant. You know what I'm saying? As look, you get to talk down. No one else gets to talk back. That ain't gonna work. Only someone would have to be really down and broken and a very low self-esteem and no self-worth, and you know what I'm saying? It's hey man, it's just like this, man. It's like, man, I got self-respect. I can't let you get away with dissing me like that. And I don't have hard feelings about it, but look, yeah, you trying to diss me and get away with it. So, and get in a position where you get to diss. No one else gets to say anything back. You know what I'm saying? Which is, it's a tyrant. You're barking up the tyrant tree.